Severed Steel, an incredible movement FPS. Every now and then you accidentally stumble into an experience that you end up loving completely and utterly. Last time around this happened for me was with a little game called Vampire Survivors. Well, it seems that chance has played its role once more, and I have accidentally played one of the single most enjoyable indie games that has ever crossed my path. A game I will spend the rest of this video trying to convince you to give a shot. Why? Because I want you to have the insane amount of fun I have been having with it since I found it. We all deserve a little treat here and there. Severed Steel, yeah, I know, sounds like a cheesy 80s action flick or something, is one of the best feeling movement FPS I have played since Titanfall 2. Now, some of you know that Titanfall 2 is probably one of, if not the best FPS ever created, so you realize that I don't make this comparison very lightly. I picked up this game on a random sale when Steam recommended it to me. In most cases, I have found Steam's recommendations to be pretty off the mark, but for once, they managed to hit a bullseye. In Severed Steel, you get dropped into a world with a minimalist story, get given an incredibly satisfying parkour toolset consisting of wall running, dives, double jumps, and a triple if you unlock a modifier, kick slides, door kicks, and on-demand slow motion, and go through stage after stage of inventive arenas that are almost completely destructible in a voxel-based system, where you learn to utilize this moveset to its absolute peak of efficiency, while taking out and stealing the super varied guns of hundreds of different bad guys. Sounds simple in concept, right? However, if you've been watching the frankly insane gameplay I managed to record only on my second ever play session of this game, then you've probably realized that the amount of options and tools your character is equipped with transform every single encounter into the Matrix lobby scene. You are constantly flipping in midair, sliding under objects, running along walls, and hitting shot after satisfying shot on every head that makes the mistake of turning your way. However, what I feel is the selling point is this simple gameplay feature. So long as you are performing a jump, slide, dive, or wall run, all enemy bullets are guaranteed to miss you. This encourages you as the player to literally never stop moving or you die. This singular choice is pure genius for a game like this. It completely and utterly blows me away that I can't think of any other devs who have implemented this as a risk reward for mastering their game's movement. By rewarding you for being good at it, you naturally grasp the system faster and become the kind of player you end up watching speedrun other less intuitive games. The pure flow of this game reminds me of some of my favorite experiences of the medium. The aforementioned Titanfall 2, but also Ultra Kill, Dying Light, Mirror's Edge. It feels like you're an incredibly souped up version of the characters from all of these games and have complete freedom in how you want to approach every single stage. But it doesn't stop there. There's tinges of Max Payne and fear in it as well. With the on-demand slow-mo and the way the environment reacts to your and the enemy's gunfire, almost every single engagement is like a sci-fi John Woo film, with debris flying everywhere, enemy bodies ragdolling all over the place, your crazy kung fu style kick launching dudes across the room. Hell, with a certain modifier, your kicks and punches instantly gib enemies, making you into a force of nature that moves across the battlefield like a specter and turns anything that dares stand in your way into a fine red mist. There's a very specific kind of power fantasy that this game manages to nail. You feel like a much sleeker, faster moving version of the Doomslayer, which is saying something. Just cutting through entire levels like a knife through hot butter. There's also just that draw of seeing yourself becoming more and more noticeably skilled, which invites you to keep replaying stages, maybe raising the difficulty, seeing just how much your own understanding of these systems can carry you. Funnily enough, the campaign feels more like a training mode for you. The kiddie wheels are on and you're allowed to naturally discover the limits and use cases of all your abilities and just how much you're actually capable of. The campaign also introduces you to one of the standout features the main character has access to, her arm cannon. This thing adds another layer of gameplay options and dimensions to the game. You're able to use it to blast your way through walls, floors, and ceilings, meaning if you're inventive enough, you can speedrun levels with an efficiency that's hard to believe even when you see it in action. Then there's the number of modes and unlockables. Once you finish the campaign, the actual meat of the game still remains. You have Firefight mode, where you can play a bunch of different combat arenas at different difficulties with different modifiers and starting weaponry, resulting in more or less an infinite box of fun for the kinds of people who get a kick out of this gameplay feel and loop. When I say unlockables, I mean the cool kind. As you level up in these additional modes, you unlock more and more weapons as starting options. You get more and more different arenas and stages. Some repurposed from the campaign, but some completely original and fresh. You also have something called Rogue Steel runs. These turn the game into a roguelike configuration of 10 different arenas per run, where you unlock and choose a different variety of building modifiers. These can range from normal stuff like a triple jump to insane wacky crap like guns exploding on impact when you throw them at an enemy, or a super kick that will launch you off whatever surface you hit like a rocket. These modifiers, once unlocked, become usable in all of the game modes. Campaign and New Game Plus, the Firefight mode. You end up with so much choice and variety that through experimentation you can turn this into a whole different game. Do you want to challenge yourself and do a run where you cannot use guns, but have access to a super slide, super wall run, triple jumps, and much more lethal hand-to-hand punches and kicks? You can achieve this with modifiers and turn yourself into a warrior monk. Do you want to turn this into the ultimate parkour challenge? You can turn on The Floor is Lava, making it so that touching the ground for the entire stage will kill you, which teaches you real fast how to constantly keep yourself moving and bouncing from wall to wall and enemy to enemy. Do you think that was it? Think again. You also unlock alternate variants of the arm cannon, which can completely change your playstyle. There's the gravity cannon option, which allows you to steal weapons from the ground and even enemies' hands at a distance, causing them to fly right into your hand. It feels as badass as it sounds. There's a laser cannon and a bunch of others that I will leave for you to discover and try out yourselves. Hell, just the fact that you can steal guns off of enemies is a really fun trick. You can literally slide down to or walk up to an enemy while dodging their bullets and take a gun out of their holster and blast them with it. That's some real action film shit right there. Last but certainly not least, the game does have workshop integration. What does this mean? There's a few hundred at the time of writing user-created levels, of which I have tried a few, including a recreation of Dust from Counter-Strike. These levels provide you with even more content in a game that already, for its budget and price, gave me more than I could ever have asked for. The few user-created levels I tried were actually of a pretty good quality as well, and it showed me that while small, the community for the game clearly love what it brings to the table and have tried to extend the time others have with it even further. You can truly never have enough of a good thing. I'm even ashamed to say it's taken me this long to find out this game exists. I mean, it came out in 2021. I've been the kind of guy who falls in love with movement shooters instantly since the first time I laid my hands on a Quake game back in the good old days. You give me speed and the ability to bounce around an arena like a human-sized loaded spring, and I'm pretty much putty in your hands. This game has already hit every single one of my niche tastes, and yeah, I just feel weird that it somehow went under the radar for so long for me. I guess that just goes to show how much of the time we can miss out on really good indie titles that are almost perfectly made for our own tastes just because of how much is out there these days on the market. I grabbed Severed Steel for £8, but it usually hovers around the $20 mark, and I'll be honest, so far it has already paid for itself in full multiple times over. It's rare that I get so fixated with a gameplay loop that I can just keep playing it over and over again. Yet with this game, I can feel myself improving every single time I pick it up. And with the way I can mix and match modifiers, every single time that I play it, it feels fresh all over again. When it comes to value for money, few full-price AAA games manage to provide me with this much entertainment, much less an indie game from a small studio. It's worth the price, worth a purchase, and worth the time to both try and master if you find yourself as addicted to what it has on offer as I am. This one is for all the lovers of movement shooters out there. What we have here is a peak example of how good movement can make a night and day difference to the replayability and enjoyment one can get out of an FPS. Movement shooter fans, do not miss out on this one if it somehow went under your radar too. Trust me. Don't you just love it when you end up stumbling into a game that becomes another of your new obsessions? That's kind of why I like doing these smaller videos covering stuff like indie games, whatever. I run into one that really gets me addicted. Cause, again, there's just so much on Steam, Epic Games Launcher, all these stores, so many games released daily. It's difficult to dig through all the crap and find the real gems. So a lot of the time you'll miss out on stuff that honestly feels like it was made for you. That's what it felt like for me with this. Yeah, expect more stuff like this in the future because I'm testing out new little indie games I find all the time. Some of them are absolutely worth talking about, and I have a few others that I think you guys might enjoy as a recommendation. See ya when I see ya.